Today we are talking about overrated and underrated horror movies that came to me in a suggestion, and if I can find the comment where it was suggested, it'll be right here. If not, I'm just gonna look stupid. Hey there, creepy peeps. Welcome to another Weird Wednesday video. Today we're gonna be talking about overrated and underrated horror movies. This idea came to me in a suggestion, so thank you very much for the suggestion. I thought it was a great idea, of course, so that's why I'm gonna do it. And as always, feel free to leave me suggestions for other Weird Wednesday videos in the comment section down below. I don't really know. I don't want to get too deep into a discussion on these, just because I think the video will go on too long. But I'll maybe just quickly let you know why I think it's overrated or underrated. The first one on my list for overrated is The Descent. Aaron, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. It's overrated. He always tells me how good this movie is, and I just don't like it that much. I didn't connect to the characters in any way. I thought the monsters were stupid. Yeah, I didn't really understand like why those girls couldn't, I just don't understand why those girls couldn't have kicked more ass in that movie. Next one is Drag Me to Hell. I'm not really sure why everyone likes this movie so much. I don't know, I guess that's why I think it's overrated. I just thought the scares came off as more comedic than anything, and I didn't connect to the main character in any way, so I wasn't particularly concerned about her getting dragged to hell or not, you know. Meh. Next one, Unfriended. I feel like there was so much hype for this movie, and I did appreciate some of these I kind of have like love-hate relationships with in the overrated and in the underrated category. So I did like that they tackled the idea of like social media and cyberbullying and stuff. I enjoyed that. I just feel like the hype for the movie was way too much for what the movie was, and that ending sucked. Yeah. Next one, Session 9. That was part of my must-see horror movie marathon last month, and that was one of those movies that came up on almost every single list, and I just didn't find it that like particularly scary. I found, if you remember my review of it, I found the idea of dissociative identity disorder disturbing. I always find that is quite a scary thing to think about. But the movie itself, I did not find scary at all. And the whole thing with Simon, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The whole thing with Simon, I just found to be very confusing. It Follows is my next one. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it was really overrated. I remember liking it when I first saw it, and every time I see it, I just kind of find more things wrong with it. Like, I think that they're wrong. The idea of it actually keeps me paranoid to this day. Whenever I'm walking by myself anywhere at night and there's no one else around, I always get paranoid that there's somebody just walking behind me, following me. So the parts of the concept of the movie still follow me, and I think that they're but there are just a lot of parts in that movie that don't make any sense. And they don't explain it, so I'm left with more questions than answers. And finally, Ringo. Again, another one that came up on every single must-see horror movie list that I saw. So I included it in my marathon last month as well. It just wasn't scary at all. I guess it just did not hold up. It didn't stand the test of time as far as scares go. And the ending renders the entire movie pointless. Moving on to underrated horror movies. Movies that I think are way underrated and need a little more love. Just to be clear, my Just to be clear, my definition, got through that word, good job. Just to be clear, my definition of underrated is more like, it's not like unknown movies that everybody needs to know about. It's just ones that I think are underappreciated based on reviews and things I've seen, or they kind of get like passed over in favor of other movies. So the first one I wrote down was Grave Encounters, which is, it's almost a little bit silly, but it's got kind of like a rose red feel to it. Quickly, the synopsis is about like a team of people that are going to film an episode of their show in this haunted, abandoned hospital. And those parts with them like filming the bits for their show are really cheesy and corny, and I find those enjoyable. And like I said, it kind of has like a rose red feel to it, where, you know, like the layout of the hospital keeps changing and it traps them in there with no escape, that sort of thing. So that was cool. Probably everyone is gonna think this is a weird choice for me to put on here, but I think Trick or Treat. I think it's underrated as a Halloween movie, like for the rest of the world. I feel like horror, like within the horror movie, like us horror movie fans, we all know Trick or Treat. But I feel like as a Halloween movie, it's totally underrated. Every year for Halloween, I like never see it on any channel playing it. Like, it's the perfect Halloween movie. The rest, I think it's underrated because I think the rest of the world needs to get on this one. Next is The House's October Built, which I watched so long ago and reviewed on this channel, and I think it was really creative and really clever. The ending, I could have, you know, I could have used a better ending on that one, but I think like the whole concept of the movie was really great, and I like the idea of like exploring haunted attractions because so many people flock to those every year. Like, I mean, here alone, I can't even imagine how many people go out to Howl-O-Scream and Halloween Horror Nights every October for Halloween. And lastly on here, I feel like The Invitation is quite an underrated horror movie. I don't even really know when this one came out. I just watched this the other day and I was just like so blown away by it that I had to put it on here because it's like, why didn't I know about this sooner? Has to be because it's underrated. It was really, really good. Look forward to a review on that. I'm not gonna say anything else about that because you'll hear all my opinions in my review it'll come at some point. I thought I would add a little third category in here because as I was thinking about this topic, obviously, you know, I thought about what movies I thought were overrated and underrated, and I made my list, which you just heard. I took to the internet because I was curious to see what the internet thought were the most underrated and overrated horror movies. And these movies you're about to hear made it onto both lists, strangely. Like, sometimes I saw these movies on overrated horror movie lists, sometimes I saw them on underrated horror movie lists, which I thought was very strange. But when I saw them, I was like, you know, like I felt like they kind of met my expectations. I feel like they kind of lived up to the hype. So I thought I would just quickly list those. So the ones you're about to hear, like half of the internet thought these were overrated, half of them thought they were underrated. But I found that they totally lived up to the hype. When I finally got around to watching it, I feel like it, you know, it met expectations. And those movies are Suspiria, The Exorcist, The Blair Witch Project, Poltergeist, and Paranormal Activity. I thought that was so strange that people thought like The Exorcist was underrated. Because I feel like every single review for The Exorcist is like how great that movie is, and it's like in the #1 spot for like every list of must-see horror movies. I want to ask those people that thought it was underrated, like, why exactly do you feel like that it's underrated? Same thing with Suspiria and The Blair Witch Project. I feel like those are in like the top, at least the top 5 of everyone's like must-see horror movie list. But how do you think it was underrated? I've read nothing but good reviews for these movies, except for maybe Paranormal Activity. I've read some shitty reviews for that one. But I feel like those ones lived up to the hype when I saw them. So I thought I would just add that little category in there. Yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, until next time, stay strange. Bye! Hey guys, be sure to let me know your most overrated and underrated horror picks in the comment section down below. And as an added bonus, let me know any horror movies you thought lived up to the hype. When you finally got the chance to see it, you were satisfied. Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe. The clickable button is right down there.